Welcome back. In this fifth version of our Introduction to Excel Fundamentals, we're going to go over how you address formulas with references on other worksheets and workbooks. This is an important skill, especially when you have to share data with other users within your department or work group, and it'll help you understand some of the basic fundamentals on how you get that done. Now, switching over to Excel, you can see we have a very simple workbook here. It is the Excel 005 Example 1 workbook. And this workbook just consists of two worksheets. You can see worksheet 1, which is the worksheet we're on. Then there's a worksheet 2. Not that we're going to get into worksheets too much, but if you want to add worksheets, that's just this button here. We'll add another worksheet, and then you can kind of resort them. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to pull over a value that is on worksheet 2, and we want to bring it over to worksheet 1. So as usual, we go into the formula bar, we hit the equal sign, and then we click on worksheet 2 to navigate to worksheet 2. And then we click on that value, hit enter, and then that brings that value over from the other worksheet. So you can see up here in the formula bar how Excel references the other worksheet. So it has the name of the worksheet and an exclamation point, and then the address on the other worksheet cell. So the nice thing is that if you have multiple values, you can just grab this little bar down here. Although there's no values on the other sheet, you can see that I can just paste that over. But that's kind of the basic of referencing cells from another worksheet. So now let's talk about referencing cells on other workbooks. We just went through the worksheet example. So we're still back on our Excel 005-1 XLS file. But we want to bring a value from this workbook here, this Excel 005 example 2. So this is a different workbook, but we want to bring over the sales for the year of 2022 off this P&L and bring it over to our other example 1 workbook here. So the way you do that is just like with the prior example. You start in the formula bar, you click equals. And then the most straightforward way to do this is to go down here and click on the other workbook that you want to reference the cell from, and then you just click on the cell. So there's the sales for 2022, and hit enter. And then that brought the value over. So now you can see this is quite a bit different than the previous example, because you can see up here in the formula bar that now Excel has to reference the file name, which is this first part here. And it has that in brackets. And then it references the worksheet name. We didn't really talk about it, but that was the worksheet name on the other workbook. And then it references the cell address on that worksheet. And you'll notice, and this is important to notice, is that when Excel references a cell on a different workbook, it by default brings that over as a absolute reference. So you see those two dollar signs. So we had a previous video where we talked about absolute versus relative references, but that is an absolute reference to the cell D8 on the other workbook. So as you may recall from the worksheet example, we just clicked on the cell and we use this little grab bar to grab the values over. Okay, but you can see we now get all the same numbers, and that has to do with this absolute cell reference. So if we wanted to get a similar result where we get all the different sales numbers from 2022 as well as 2023, 24, etc., we need to change this into a relative reference. So I have highlighted the cell. One way to do this is just to hit F4 a couple times once you've highlighted the cell and hit enter, and now it is a relative reference. And when I grab this little bar down here, then you can see it brings over the values for those different cells. Now, one caveat about doing this way is that if someone goes through and changes where something is located on that other workbook, then this process will fail. So you need to have a lot of diligence with how you set up these workbooks and these cell references. And finally, now this is a little bit more complex implementation of formulas that are accessing values on different worksheets within the same file, but this is a pretty powerful way of doing this. So just a little bit of background on what you're looking at here. So we have a profit and loss statement that is a consolidation for a number of divisions, say within one company. So this would be Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, Division 4, and then they all get summarized on this schedule here. Now, one way to do this would be to come to just manually go through and grab each one of the cells. So if I wanted, say, the 2022 sales, I could go over here and I could say that plus Division 2 plus Division 3 plus Division 4 equals, and you can see they're the same number here. Okay, but that's not really what this spreadsheet is doing, and you've kind of locked down your consolidation just to the 4 divisions that we have here. The way that this formula here works is you can see here I've put in 2 bookend worksheets that really are just empty. Now, for this to work, all of these profit and loss statements need to be in exactly the same structure by row and by column. But if you can handle that, then this cell here works just the same way. So what this does is this sums from the beginning work tab through the end work tab, and it sums up everything that's at cell D8. So you can see here I have the same number. This is effectively doing the same thing that this is. So why would I maybe want to do this? Well, the thing that makes this powerful is that, say I wanted to take one of these divisions out of this consolidation. So for example, let's say I wanted to see what this looked like without Division 1. I can just, with my mouse, click on this and drag it past either here or the begin, but just as long as it's outside of this beginning and end to here, and then go back to my summary, and you can see that took the Division 1 out of my consolidation. If I want to take Division 2, same thing. And so you can see that this is a much easier way to add and remove things from a summation of a bunch of worksheets than hard coding the formulas this way, because this, if I wanted to remove Division 1 and 2, I'd have to go up here and I'd have to manually update every formula, which is a bit cumbersome, but you can see that gets me to the same result. If I want to return them, I just can do it all in one fell swoop by holding the Control key, double-clicking those two, dragging them back in, and I have the whole thing again put back together. So this can be used for a number of different purposes. I mean, if you have schedules where you have, say, mini profit and loss statements by employee on a project-based business, this would be a pretty handy way to create P&Ls for each employee and then be able to move them around or move them out of the consolidation to see what happens. Hopefully you find that helpful. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe down below and check out our website. You'll see the link here on the screen. Thank you and bye.